Hey y'all, Dixie here. It felt like a blanket fort kind of day, so that's where we're recording today. A few weeks ago, I went backpacking on the Eagle Rock Loop in Arkansas to see the total eclipse, which by the way was absolutely fantastic. And that was my first backpacking trip since I was evacuated from the Sawtooth Wilderness back in August because of some things going on with my heart. And some of y'all have been asking how my ticker behaved on that trip, so today I want to fill you in on that, and also how backpacking while being pregnant is working out. First things first, my heart did not bother me at all on this trip, which was more of a relief than I can express. I was really nervous heading out that something terrible was gonna happen. I made sure that I upped my search and rescue plan to the 100K plan. But even though this trail had a lot of different bailout points and I knew we'd be close to a road at all times, it's just one of those things that I want to make sure I always have going forward. But because I didn't fully get to the bottom of everything and truly figure out what happened on that trip back in August, it was really a mental hurdle just getting back out on the trail. And that might seem silly, but when you have something like that happen and you feel so helpless in the middle of the wilderness to where a helicopter has to come get you, it's I guess a little bit traumatic. I was below 2,000 feet the whole time I was on this trip, so I think that was smart to ease into it. Plus being pregnant, I'm not supposed to go 8,000 feet or above. But also on this trip, the terrain day to day wasn't just extremely challenging, and we took it easy. We did like 6 to 7 miles max per day. Also, I tried to lighten my load as much as possible, so I did want to carry my CPAP with me to get more experience using that, but because I have a mild case, I was able to leave it at home just to lighten my load. But there were some pretty steep climbs, especially the last 2 or 3 days or so of the trip, and going up to Brush Heap Mountain where we saw the eclipse was the steepest climb of the whole trek, and it certainly did test my heart. You know, my heart rate got up there, and I would say especially because I'm more out of shape than I have been in a while right now, with having limited workouts because of some pregnancy troubles in the first trimester, and then not backpacking as often, obviously. So really, once I got over the mental hurdle, I got myself out there on the trail, and I was, a day or two in, I really started to feel like my old Dixie self, and it was just wonderful to kind of overcome that. So I felt like it was good getting my feet wet, getting back out there for several days, and not pushing myself too hard, but still actually challenging my heart. And I did feel pretty good, at least cardiology-wise, on those climbs. As far as being pregnant and backpacking goes, I did talk about this while I was out on the Eagle Rock Loop in that video, but probably most of y'all didn't see that video, so I figured I would go on and touch on it in this video too. I did plan ahead with my new ULA pack I was using out on the Eagle Rock Loop, and I got a large hip belt. I think it will probably work for me anyway when I'm not pregnant, although my midsection is bigger, but I was planning ahead for it to get even larger. I like a hip belt that wraps around my hips all the way. I don't like it when it ends, the cushion part ends part way on my hip. It just kind of seems to aggravate it a little bit. So as long as I can tighten it up enough when I'm not pregnant, I'll be good to go. But the main thing I noticed on this trip that was different is when I would bend over to get a shot of a butterfly or a flower or whatever, it was just a little bit more uncomfortable leaning down. Like there's less room to kind of squish in the midsection there. And then also when I was scooping up water. Also, I do not sleep comfortably on my stomach anymore, so I'm glad that I have a sleeping pad that is comfortable on my side, because I'm either a stomach or a side sleeper, and having something like a closed cell phone pad would be absolutely miserable with my hip bone digging into the ground. As I get further along, I may need to have some sort of tummy support. I've started using a pregnancy pillow in everyday life, so not quite sure what I'm gonna do about that. Thankfully, my food aversions and nausea haven't been as strong as in the first trimester, although everyone who's like, oh yeah, it'll go away second trimester, no problem. That's a lie, at least for me. It seems like the first trimester morning sickness was all day sickness, and now for me, most of the time, my morning sickness is hitting more around like 4 to 6 p.m. or so. So that kind of worked out well with backpacking, as we did pretty much stop, you know, before the sun was going down. I did take with me some Zofran that my OBGYN prescribed just in case, but it really didn't seem to help that much. But I was grateful for the food aversions being less severe, because I was able to eat, you know, my typical healthy version of my backpack and loadout food. So I felt good about that. I was a little worried about the baby during and after the backpacking trip. Just really unreasonable concerns. I guess the motherly instinct has really kicked in, but so I was excited to get home and do the Doppler and hear the baby's heartbeat to make sure it was still kicking in there. I don't know, I guess maybe I was afraid the hip belt was squishing it too much or whatever, which my doctor had said I was fine to backpack, so I know that's unreasonable. But I had my anatomy scan today, and everything 100% verified that the baby is okay. There were no negative things about the backpacking trip as far as impacts on the baby, and actually the baby is measuring ahead of schedule a few days, so this is gonna be a fun birth. I'm currently today, upon recording, 18 weeks and 5 days, and I wanted to wait until I had the anatomy scan today so I could share some pictures and some video clips with y'all. It's so cute. The baby's like practicing swallowing. I'm like, how is that, you know, swallowing your own urine? Because, I mean, I guess all of us, you know, did it in the womb. But anyway, the doctor says I should be just fine to do the West Highland Way in June, so hopefully nothing will change between now and then on that. And I am planning to try testing out camping with a hammock between now and then. I want to try to get like a really lightweight hammock set up. So I know y'all have made suggestions in the past, but if you don't mind throwing those in the comments below, I would be very appreciative, as some new things could have come out since the last time I got your recommendations. And then also I might try to throw in another backpacking trip in July after I do the West Highland Way, if all goes well with that. But anyway, that is all I have for y'all today. I appreciate y'all reaching out and asking how everything is going, and I will keep you posted as things progress. Thank y'all so much for watching, and we will see y'all next time.